Welcome back to the Traffic Hackers. I'm Brent Stone. I've got Glen Martin here with me, and we are really excited because today we are going to get really specific into search tactics, and we're focusing on a very specific type of search tactic that's not complicated. It doesn't cost you any money to use. And it's something that we have actually put out on our social media how to do this stuff. So go follow us on Instagram at the Traffic Hackers, and you can see some of this stuff for really quick tutorials. But we've got Glenn with us today, who's an expert on this, and he's going to be walking you through some of how to use what's called negative Boolean searching. We've talked about Boolean searching in general, positive Boolean searching specifically. Now we're going to talk about negative Boolean searching. Glenn, so excited that we can do this. Let's jump right in. I'll turn it over to you and take us away.
Welcome to the Traffic Hackers Podcast, the crossroads of lead generation expertise and business growth savvy. Here we explore the expansive landscape of demand generation, guided by your hosts, Brent Stone and Glen Martin. So get your laptop out and your cell phone ready. It's time to enter the world of the Traffic Hackers.
Man, well, what's up, guys? Yes, like Brent said, welcome to the Traffic Hackers. I'm super excited to share because this is one of the biggest separators with curating a real, actual audience inside of LinkedIn. And we've talked about this a lot before. You know, some people look at LinkedIn as like a glorified resume holder and they don't know how to find people. And I think where a lot of you guys are probably losing is searching for your ideal audience so that you can actually build a connection and grow. And it's like, man, this takes so much time to find the actual people that I want. Well, I've got good news. There is something inside of LinkedIn called a Boolean search. So if you just open up your LinkedIn and you click your search bar, and you're probably going to see that, man, there's like 972 million plus people that use LinkedIn. So getting close to 1 billion now. How do I find the 1,000 people that fit inside my niche? Well, there's 3 different styles of Boolean searches, and it's a positive, which is an and, it's an or, which is or, and there's a negative, which is not. And I'm going to explain what this looks like. Definitely go to our YouTube, and we're going to have a Loom video there where I actually do this live for you guys so you can see exactly how to do this and how to break this down. But open up your LinkedIn, click in your search bar. So let's say you want to connect with, let's just call it IT consultants, but you also know that some people put in IT coaches and you're like, man, how do I find both of them? Well, you can type IT consultant. Now, here's the key aspect to this. You want to put IT consultant in quotation marks. So you want to have quotation marks before IT and after consultant. So you have IT consultant, and then you want to put the word and. Now, if you just type and, like you would think, no capital letters, it's not going to do anything for you. You want to capitalize. This is very crucial. You want to capitalize and, A-N-D, all capital letters. And now you want to add your next search. So these obviously should be separate words, so spaces between, but then the next search should be quotation mark IT coach, right? Quotation mark. Now, when you click that search, you're going to see a whole list of people that pop down inside that search that exactly fit that demographic. And you're like, wow, this is still, 16,000 people or 60,000 people. How do I get more specific than that? Now, obviously, that's where you go into some of the filters and you pick locations and you pick exactly where you want them to be. If you're in Virginia where we are and you want just inside Virginia, you put just inside Virginia. And you want to get that search down to ideally below or right at 1,000 people. LinkedIn doesn't typically let you go past 1,000. So that's the first thing that you want to do. That's what I would call a positive Boolean search. And obviously you can go any word that you want to put in there. If you want to find people, you're like, man, I work with moms and dads. Cool. Quotation mark mom and quotation mark dad. Boom, you pull in both audiences, and that's going to be a big audience, but you can then curate that down to maybe even just a city inside an area that you live, and you can find those exact people. So yeah, Brent, that's the positive Boolean search. You want me to dive right into the negative and the and or the or as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've highlighted positive, which is really good to do a refresher today. We've done positive on previous,
Yep.
so let's dive into the negative and look at what that looks like for people.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about the positive first because I think it's easy to forget. Now, the negative, if you want to only connect with you, ideally, you just want men. You're like, man, how do I find an audience of just one gender inside of LinkedIn? Now, caveat, this isn't going to be 100% accurate, but it will be 99% accurate. So let's say you want to find just dads and you're like, man, I really don't want to see, a lot of women falling in here, but I'd like to find dad CEOs. Well, I've got a great idea for you here. And this is where you're going to combine a positive and a negative. So this is where the negative is going to come very effectively. So you're going to put dad in quotation marks, and then you're going to use the positive and Boolean search, and you're going to add CEO. But now in the negative, you're going to put in not mom and not women or not woman. You can use one or the other. And that search is going to be very, very niche because now you're looking for dad CEOs and you're going to make sure that no moms or no women pop into that search. And what this does is it actually scrapes LinkedIn profiles. So if someone has mom somewhere inside their profile or woman inside their profile or something like that, even in a post that they made, it will negatively take that out of the search. And so you have a very curated search based on that exact audience that you want. And obviously you can use it just by itself where you want, IT consultants, but you don't want financial consultants because it can sometimes sneak in there and it's like, man, this is not what I was looking for. And again, quotation marks, making sure you capitalize the not, and boom, you put it right in there. So super fun stuff, super fascinating.
That's really awesome. It's like, if anyone's listening to this and they're in the sales department for like Esquire magazine or like Men's Health or something like that, you're
Yeah.
welcome. Thank Glenn, send him a thank you note in the mail. Because he just made your search pretty easy.
You know
So
what's cool about
if
this,
if
Brent?
if yeah, what's that?
You can even use these inside a Sales Navigator, and then you can actually curate it even more where you can go income levels, current job, all this stuff. So if you use the same type of searching inside Sales Navigator, now you can even put it into, I only want dads and CEOs, let's use my previous example, that run a $10 million plus company. They have 50 employees, and dude, now you have an audience of like 10 people that are exactly who you want to talk to.
Well, where so many people get LinkedIn wrong when they're talking about searching, because I've done this, where you're like, oh man, I want a search pool of 10,000 people because more is better.
Yep.
More is not better. Would you agree?
More is definitely not better.
I mean, you want to focus on as few people that you're trying to talk to as possible so you can give basically fewer people more attention. It's like I have an almost 3-year-old son and he's watching the movie Boss Baby, and it's the scene where the baby's like, he's talking to, the older toddler, and he's like, see Templeton, there's only so many beads and the beads equate to love. And he's like, talking about like the shares of love that can go around. And he's like, there's just not enough beads. And it's like, that's your attention. It's like, you can't give 10,000 people your attention. You can give 10 people your attention. You can try to give 100 people your attention, but at that point you probably need like our automation software for that to be able to, try to farm leads from more than 10 or 20 people. So there's answers if you have a pool like that. So you just need maybe some of our help in another capacity with our software, but we can talk about that later. But basically you're trying to focus in on just a couple people. Is there anything else that you want to leave people with before we wrap up this episode?
I mean, we talked about the or Boolean search, and I'll just kind of put a plug in for that because it's a little bit more in depth. We're going to talk about that in a later episode because I want to give it the time that it deserves. But when you think about or, you're looking for, two different types of people that would be in a similar audience. So it's different than and. So stay tuned for that one. You're going to love it, and go watch Boss Baby because who doesn't love that? You know what I mean?
It's awesome. Hey, Glenn, you're amazing. Thank you so much for explaining that to our listenership. And until next time, we'll see you later. and keep up the good work and everything you're doing to generate leads. We are excited about your success. See you later.